Hi, my name is Kimberly Klein, and I'm going to talk to you about why I'm in Medellín, Colombia, and why I chose it to do my tummy tuck and my lipo of the chin. I'm going to walk you through why I chose Colombia, what surgery day was actually like, the hardest day of my recovery, and where I'm at now 2 weeks later. What drew me to Colombia initially was honestly the price, how beautiful this country is. I knew that I was going to get more bang for my buck if I did surgery in Colombia versus Michigan or California, New York, Ohio, anywhere else in the United States. I was down to 2 different surgeons. One was a woman based out of Bogota, and one was another surgeon, a man, here in Medellín. I submitted all of my photos and videos to both of the doctors, and one was significantly cheaper than the other. However, I felt like my consultation with Dr. Zamir Paez in Medellín just went better. I really liked the surgeon that I met with in Bogota. However, I felt like Dr. Zamir Paez was much more thorough with my consultation. He sent me a video, and he had my videos that I submitted to him side by side, like with his face. And he was pointing with his cursor at different areas of my torso. And explaining to me in detail why lipo alone was probably not going to give me the result that I would have preferred. After doing some more research, I figured he was right, because I already had some skin laxity in my lower abdomen that with lipo, after doing my research, I figured out just lipo was not going to fix the skin laxity appearance. At first I didn't care so much about the skin laxity, but I had so much fat underneath my belly, or on my belly, that I knew that if I did lipo alone, I would have the appearance of even more skin laxity. So I didn't think that I was going to get a tummy tuck initially. I thought that I was just going to get a little bit of lipo and that would fix my issue, but he went into great detail about doing a mini tummy tuck or a full tummy tuck. So he left it up to me, and then once I got to Medellín, he saw me in person, and it was the same. He told me I did have more skin laxity than he had initially seen through my videos. But even so, he said that I could get a mini tummy tuck or a full tummy tuck. It was really up to me. And it didn't change the price that he had given me. So I liked the fact that he was not so much he didn't come across as though he was interested in the money. You know, obviously this is how he makes a living, but it wasn't like, oh, if we do a full tummy tuck, it's going to cost this much more. Nothing like that. So I want to also note that, because when I had a few consultations in the United States, you know, everything is about the money. Or at least that was the case with me and the consultations that I had with doctors there. If I wanted to do something slightly different, there was a cost difference. I mean, I guess it makes sense, right? But anyway, he also, when he looked at my chin and my neck in person, he told me, like, honestly, what you might want in the future is what do they call it? A deep plane neck lift. But he told me that with a tummy tuck and a deep plane neck lift, that would be way too much surgery in one day. I would be miserable, etc., etc. And I don't feel like I'm at an age where I necessarily need to do that right now. But he did note it. He gave an alternative though, which I really appreciated, which was that from the liposuction that he was going to do and the tummy tuck, he could put a little bit of fat in my chin to give my chin a little bit more projection, taking care of the, I guess, cheek fullness and the droopiness that I was beginning to see. He said that it would help, and I think that it has. Right now, I'm still swollen. I can feel it in my face. But, you know, I'm 2 weeks post-op, so I'll be patient. I usually do wear my chin strap, but I'm not wearing it for this video because that would have been a little bit overkill. So that's how the consultation with Dr. Zamir went. Like I said, it was very thorough. Now I want to get into recovery. So I went through with in Spanish they call it a lipo papada, which is just lipo of the double chin and the neck, the tummy tuck, and lipo 360. What's really cool about doing surgery here in Medellín, at least with the doctor that I did it with, was I was able to spend the night at the hospital. And it was a private hospital. My doctor also offered to provide me with a nurse, even though I was already going to have nurses at the hospital checking on me around the clock. And my mom, she's also here with me. I thought that it was worth it to hire a nurse, and it was something like $100 for 24 hours. I thought that that was an easy yes. So this nurse spent the night with me in the hospital room. Anything that I needed help with, if I needed a pillow adjusted or anything, she was there to help me. And at the hospital, I had a little clicky thingy if I needed to call for help. So I thought that that all was extremely helpful. As soon as I got to my hospital room, they had to transfer me from the bed that they did the surgery on me on to my bed in my hospital room. So I did have to get down. That was the very first time that my feet hit the floor after surgery, and 3 nurses were helping carry me, and they made me go to the bathroom before I got in the hospital bed. It's all a blur, but I do remember that a nurse kind of grabbed my side and started like rubbing the sides of my torso. And I don't know if that was to help get lymphatic drainage out of my system. I mean, there was blood, there were, lymphatic liquids coming out of me. It felt like a relief because I didn't have to do much on my own. They sat me down on the toilet. I had to go to the restroom, and then they cleaned me up and they put me on the bed. It was difficult. I cannot imagine having gotten this surgery and then being in the United States and having the doctor or the hospital just send me home, which I'm pretty sure is what they would have done unless I paid extra to stay at the hospital. I actually don't know how it would have been, but I got to stay at the hospital for more than 24 hours. When I was in the hospital, I remember I was draining liquid. Liquid was coming out of the areas where they put a cannula in. And I was so lucky to have more than one nurse be by my side and come to my aid if I had to go to the restroom, if I had to sit up. The hospital also gave me 3 meals while I was there. So they gave me a snack after surgery, and it was a big snack. I didn't finish any of the meals that they gave me at the hospital. That's how large the meals were. And I wish that I would have recorded the meals because they were beautiful. I had a carrot soup, a big salad. I had rice and chicken. They gave me like freshly squeezed orange juice, papaya, fresh fruit. it was really nice. It was really good. And they were feeding me. I was not feeding myself. I had something in my hand. Oh, it was for the IVs that they were giving me. And my hands were swollen. My arms were swollen after surgery. Everything was swollen after surgery. So they would not let me do anything on my own. They were hand feeding me. They were taking me out of the bed. They were helping me go to the bathroom. I was in my most vulnerable state, but when you are post-surgery in a hospital with all these women around you trying to help you, you just let them help you. Pain management was out of this world. I would tell them if I was uncomfortable, which I was, because I remember feeling like I had a lot of gas in my stomach, and I told them my stomach hurts like I'm full of gas. And they said, yeah. When they do the surgery, they put liquid in you and they sort of blow you up, so you're going to be uncomfortable. Every time I let them know that I was uncomfortable, they looked at my IV, they looked at how much medication I had just gotten, and if they allowed it, they gave me more medication for my pain. So I remember feeling a little bit of pain, but I'm sure that it would have been much worse had I not gotten that medication. And the hospital stay was included in the cost. So if I asked for more medication or anything, it's not like they were charging me more. I wasn't going to pay more money than what I had already paid for the surgery because it was all included. When I arrived to the clinic, it was big, beautiful, and very, very clean. I went there early in the morning. I had to be there at 6 a.m. They started prepping me at around 7 a.m. and I went into the surgery room by 7:50, 8 a.m. The anesthesiologist, she was a woman, she came over to me and she grabbed my arm and she was like, we're gonna take good care of you. And she was rubbing me like this and holding on to me tight. I don't know what it is about that pressure, but it gave me comfort. When I was going into the room, I saw my doctor, my surgeon, his right hand, my anesthesiologist, and the nurses. My anesthesiologist was so kind and reassuring. She did not leave my side. She put my hair up, and when they started administering the anesthesia, she let me know, and she was rubbing my temples like this. And she was like, it's gonna be okay. And I appreciated that because I could feel my head start to get a little spacey. So again, like that added pressure to my head when she was doing that, it put me at ease. Because it was like she knew how I was feeling and she was reassuring me all the way. So I remember it was just lights out, and then I woke up. When I woke up, I didn't feel anything, first of all, but I saw one woman to the right of me and another woman to the left of me. I thought to myself, I must be doing pretty good because I saw nurses on both of their sides. One of them couldn't open her eyes, she was struggling to wake up, and the nurses were very sweetly speaking to her. There's something about the way people speak in Spanish, like they'll say, it's time to open your little eyes, they were very gentle. And the lady was saying, like, I'm trying to open my eyes, but I can't, And then the other lady to the other side of me, she was immediately emotional, like she was crying as she was waking up out of anesthesia. So I thought to myself, like, I must be doing okay, because I was just sort of sitting there, like, waiting for someone to take me to my room, right? Dr. Zamir came to check on me in the morning. I want to say it was around 7 or 8 a.m. And I remember having been so uncomfortable that night. I didn't sleep very well. Like I said, I was like full of gas. I was sweating, and then I was cold, and then I was sweating. It took a lot of energy to get out of the bed. Like I would be sweating trying to get out of the bed, even though Colombia has a very nice, like, moderate temperature. Anyway, my doctor, even though I speak pretty decent Spanish, my doctor knew that my first language was in English, so we spent time speaking Spanglish to each other. He went to go visit me, and I remember asking him, could I stay here one more night? I mean, I had the TV, I had the Netflix, I had the people feeding me, I had the people taking me to the bathroom. I guess I was, even though I had an uncomfortable first night, I felt comfortable enough to ask for a second night. And Dr. Zamir was very gracious and very nice, but he was like, Kimberly, I need you walking today. And in my head, I was like, walking? How am I going to be walking today? Like, that concept was out of this world to me. He was like, you're going to walk today. And I was like, okay. But he was very kind, and he said everything looks good. They were going to keep an eye on my hemoglobin, which is another thing. I'll get into that in another video because I did have some issues with my hemoglobin, but even 2 weeks out, like to this day, they are monitoring my hemoglobin levels and making sure that I'm healing nicely. Anyway, fast forward, he had to jump on a plane to Dubai the same day because he also does surgery in Dubai. They, within a few hours, brought me a wheelchair. I want to say it was 2 p.m. So I was there for a long time. They brought me my wheelchair. Even the guy who brought the wheelchair to my room, he was so nice. He was overly nice. I wish that I would have recorded him. He was like, I'm so sorry. Like, you know, it's going to be a little bit of a bumpy ride on the way to the elevator. You can yell at me. You can do anything you want. You can punch me if you have the strength to. And he was so, like, conscientious and thoughtful of my wheelchair ride down to the front of the hospital. So kind. Anyway, they brought me the wheelchair. We're waiting for the taxi, and they were going to take me to the clinic. Like, I wasn't even going to come back to the Airbnb from that point. They were going to start my lymphatic drainage massages that day, which I'm so glad that they did. I couldn't believe that I could get up out of the wheelchair into a car and walk. The walking was rough, but my legs felt strong. Like, I could do it. I got to the clinic, and they did their first lymphatic drainage massage. I hear so many horror stories about how badly they hurt. I don't know if it's just because Dr. Zamir's office has a different method or what it was, but it didn't hurt at all. It felt like a relief. And every day that I've gone to get a lymphatic massage, it has felt like a relief. They lay you down first, and they were massaging my torso with it's called an Indiba machine, and I think they use radio frequency and ultrasound, and they just give you a massage here. They lift you up, they turn you around, and then they start really massaging your back with a decent amount of pressure, and a ton of lymphatic fluid came out of the areas where they put a cannula in my back. Lymphatic drainage came out of those. That's probably a little bit graphic. That's probably for a different video. I'll go into more detail. Now I kind of want to get into the roughest day that I had. And that was day 2, obviously, because it's the next day. It's the first time that you're walking and everything. But day 5 it'll go down in history as the most difficult day that I had during my recovery, and it was because I couldn't go to the bathroom. Now, I know with anesthesia and all the medications that they pump you with, it's not uncommon that there's a few days that you can't go to the bathroom, but I never knew how miserable not being able to go to the bathroom would be. I never in my life expected it to feel so terrible. Luckily, that same day, I did go to the clinic to get another lymphatic drainage massage, and they told me about these guys. This is to help you go to the bathroom. The pills are literally smaller than that. And you just take one a day. When I tell you, I didn't have any more issues going to the bathroom. I took them for 2 days. So I took 2 of these pills, and to this day I'm going to the restroom normally. So no more misery after day 5. I will say day 8, I started to have more of an emotional recovery day. Not that I cried or anything, I was getting frustrated because I felt more mobile. But if I bent over a little bit too far or something, I realized like I am not independent yet. It is going to take me a while to get there. I can't just think that like a week of recovery from this massive surgery is going to be all I need to feel independent again. I'm very, very fortunate that I have my mom here with me, and she's able to help me with so many things. If you don't have a person to come with you when you do your surgery, I would recommend hiring a nurse. Like I said, it was for me, it was $100 for 24 hours, and a nurse would come to your Airbnb or wherever you're staying and take care of you. Since day 8, I haven't really... You know what I think it is? I think I had to tell my brain, like, all right, this is going to take a while. This is not going to take a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. This is going to take months. And once I accepted that in my mind, I've just been like, okay, well, I got to do what I got to do. I got to get used to my faja. It's going to be uncomfortable, but you just have to accept that you're going to be a little bit uncomfortable. I think that that's made the world of a difference so far during my recovery. Other than having my mom's help over here, the nurses at Dr. Zamir's clinic have been reaching out to me, if not every day, it's been like every other day. 10 lymphatic drainage massages were included in the package that I bought with my surgery. So I did my first 10 massages, and I decided to get 10 more just because I still have the drain. I still have the drain in me right now. So it's been 2 weeks and 3 days, and I figure that as long as I have the drain, I should be getting my massages because it just helps to push the lymphatic fluid out. So I want those massages to keep on happening. I'll probably talk about the price of the massages in a different video. If I were doing this surgery at home and even this recovery process at home, I can't say with complete confidence that I would be getting the sort of communication that I've been getting from the nurses here. I can't say with complete confidence that I would have been able to afford adding more massages with the Indiba machine. I can't say with complete confidence that anyone would be able to take care of me the way that I've been getting taken care of here. So that's just the truth. At 2 weeks post-op, walking, I'm almost standing completely upright. I can show you a little bit right now how I've been walking. I'm almost completely straight. I've seen a lot of videos where women are still like hunched over, but here the nurses were really encouraging me to stand up as straight as I could. They told me that if I didn't, that my lower back was going to be killing me and that it would weaken my muscles that I just had an operation on. And it makes sense that you want to be like this, like this. It makes complete sense, but all of my nurses universally were like, stop doing that. You're going to make your muscles very weak. your back is going to hurt, and it's going to hurt your recovery, it's going to hurt you. So, like right out of the gate, I remember even at the hospital, when I'm in pain, I have a tendency to close my eyes. And the nurses there were like, Kimberly, open your eyes, open your eyes. If you keep your eyes closed for too long, you could get dizzy. And it was like, I'm already dizzy. And they're like, well, you're going to get dizzier if you keep your eyes closed. So I appreciated how much they wanted to help me in that way. I feel like if they didn't care at all, they wouldn't have said anything. They would have just dealt with me. You know what I mean? But they explained to me why I had to keep my eyes open, why I have to put in an effort to start standing up straighter. Because of the incision site, I have not had any issues with the incision site. However, in the very beginning, I was a little bit worried about standing up completely straight because I was worried that it was going to impact the scar site, but it hasn't. So that's really good. Even though nothing has happened to the scar site though, I still cannot lay completely flat on my back. It would be really difficult for me to get up. I would need help every single time. So I'm sleeping in a reclined posture, and if I have to get up in the middle of the night at this point, I'm able to get up. A couple things I've noticed recovering 2 weeks post-op though, I tried to go for a longer walk, just get out of the house. As you can see, Medellín has like perfect weather. It's comparable to San Diego weather, except it's not as dry. The air feels crisp. The temperature in the morning, I want to say, is like a nice 65 degrees. And then in the afternoon, it creeps up to about 75 degrees maybe. It's just really, really nice weather. So anyway, I wanted to get out and go for a walk, but my limit so far has been about 2 hours. I start to get really tired, lethargic, and it was a little frustrating the first day because I was like, oh, I really want to be outside. I want to be out and about. I want to be walking around and not get tired, but I do get tired. I took an Uber and I came back to the Airbnb after about 2.5 hours. And I wound up being so tired that I took a nap in the middle of the day. And it was about a 3-hour nap. So I was tired. I wonder how long it'll take for me to feel the amount of energy I would want to where I can go for a nice long walk and not have to come back home and take a nap. We'll see. Another thing I want to touch on is what I've been eating here and how I've been eating. The food in Medellín is so flavorful. It's organic. I didn't know that a pineapple could taste so juicy, so good. Every fruit has so much flavor. The food here is delicious. I'll do a full video on the food because honestly it deserves its own spotlight. And I think that it's really helped me with my surgery recovery. So there you have it. That's a little bit about the first 2 weeks in Medellín, Colombia, recovering from my tummy tuck. If you have any questions, things that you want to know about recovering in Medellín, let me know down in the comments. Thank you.